Page 37, on the lines. On page 36, there's talking about a whole lot of wonderful stuff. And if you're struggling, have been struggling, you're not quite good, not sure yourself, this is a good point in the book to go back to the beginning of it and review everything. Go through all the lessons again, play through everything again, make sure you understand everything and you know the notes, the names of the notes that we've been using so far. Because they're kind of opening things up now. And, well, good luck with that. On page 36, they show the grand staff at the beginning, up at the top. And they show all the notes that are on the grand staff from the lowest line of bass to the upper line, top line on treble. All the notes that are represented. From down here, all the way up to here, on the piano. All of those are in the grand staff. And we've had these in the middle. Well, we're going to think about these too. I leave it to you to memorize those eventually. You don't need to sit down and try and memorize them all right now. As we're going in and we're using them in the music, that's when you need to know them. Now, I want you to understand that there's some overlap here, the way the grand staff works. You see middle C's in the middle of the grand staff, but I can have notes in the bass clef go above middle C, and they can go any there's no limit to how high they can go. It's just whatever. Or I can have notes in the treble clef staff, the top staff, go below middle C, and there's no limit to how low they can go. They're only showing 3 notes overlapping. They could have dozens of notes overlapping. That's not the point. It's the fact that they can overlap. So you can represent the same note, the same key, in either staff. So I could take this G, and I could represent it in treble clef is the next to the bottom line on treble clef. But on bass clef I could represent it, and that would be 3 little lines above the staff. Okay, these little lines that the notes are on, middle C's on a little line between them, they're called ledger lines. I don't know, they need a name, so they're ledger lines. And you can have any number of ledger lines. I mean, it gets to the point where you've got to stop and count them out because you figure them out because you don't. I can see up to 3. I can glance at it and I can tell there's 3 or 2 or 1. But when it starts getting 4 or more ledger lines, I can't tell how many there are. I have to stop and count them out. Now, if I have to do that, then once I figure out what the note is, I'm going to write in the name of it because I don't want to have to figure it out again. But in my opinion, eventually you should memorize all the notes and the clefs, grand staff, up to 3 ledger lines below or above either staff. Eventually. Because you can see 3 ledger lines, and you're going to use them eventually. That would take you 3 ledger lines below the bass clef is here, and 3 ledger lines above the treble clef is here. So now we got all these notes represented once you do that. That's a lot of notes. Eventually, that's the key word. So know what a ledger line is. And remember, in music, when a line goes through the note, we say the note is on the line. And if a line is in a space, we say it's in a space, or it could be above the line, or it could be below the line. Because when you're dealing with ledger lines, that's hard to say. Now they have some helps. Crutches, aids, memory aids. If they can help you, fine. Some people need them, some people don't. I used them when I was young and trying to remember the notes. But you want to get to the point where you don't need them anymore. You just know the names of the notes. In treble clef, look at the bottom part of on page 36. You see spaces and lines. The spaces for treble clef spell out the word face, F-A-C-E, F-A-C-E. It's every other note on the spaces. The lines are every other note too, but they're the different notes. So on the spaces for treble clef, it spells out the word face. On bass clef, it doesn't spell out a word, but you have a sentence that goes with it. All cows eat grass, and then the first letter of each word is all cows eat grass. All cows eat grass. A-C-E-G. So you can kind of remember what those notes are if you need to help you remember what them are. You don't have to use that sentence. You can make up your own sentence. If you speak a different language, then make up a sentence in your language that makes sense to you. On the lines in treble clef, they have every great Beethoven did fingering. Yeah, because we got 5 lines, so we need 5 notes, and it's every other note. The sentence I used to use was, every good boy does fine. Every good boy does fine. So you have E, G, B, D, F. Whatever sentence you want, doesn't matter. And for the bass clef, they're showing great Beethoven did fingering always. Yeah. I like good burritos don't fall apart. Good burritos don't fall apart. So every word that starts with that letter. G, B, D, F, A. Good or great burritos, depending on whether you like burritos. Great burritos don't fall apart. We don't use a T in music, so I can't say tacos don't fall apart. But burritos, we can do that. Yeah. I happen to like Mexican food. I just can't get it too often here in Arizona. You want the real stuff, you got to go to a Latin American country, I guess, or Spain. And again, you can make up your own sentences if that'll help you. But remember, it's only an aid to help you remember the note. Eventually, you need to just be able to look at the note and know what it is. That's what you're after. So keep doing the play it and say it drills until you just know the name of the note. At the bottom of page 36, they cover a little bit about sight reading. I don't really teach sight reading in the lessons, but you're welcome to. It is important. I do recommend it. It is where you sit down and you play a piece without practicing it. You just try the system I go through for learning. You're doing everything all at once. You just play it as best you can. All right. You can look it over. I mean, they have things that'll help you in sight reading, and sight reading is a skill. Like reading music is a skill. Reading a book, reading is a skill. And like any skill, you practice it. And the more you practice it, the better you get. So you think about groups of notes. You learn to see groups of notes in the music. Like the chord, like these notes. When I see these notes, I know it's a C chord. I can recognize it in the music. I know it instantly. I don't have to think about 3 separate notes. I'm thinking about one thing, a chord. Well, here it's like groups of notes in a melody. You'll learn to see, like here, let's look at this lines thing at the bottom. Here, and the second measure's here, third measure's here. All of these notes, that's just an F chord. And you'll see all those measures, and you'll kind of glance at it, and you'll suddenly, it's an F chord. I can do that, just add the rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You learn to see groups of notes over time because you'll see them again and again and again. Don't have to really make an effort to memorize anything or that. Just keep in mind that you're going to learn to recognize groups of notes at a time. It'll make reading music much easier. Now, this piece on the lines, let's take a look at it. You'll notice all the notes are on lines. That's, I guess, why it's called that. So it's 3 lines long. I'm talking like too many lines here going. When I say a note is on a line, I'm talking about a line in the staff. When I say it's 3 lines long, I'm talking about a grand staff. It's 1 line. So it's 2 staves marked together. That's 1 line. So it's 3 lines long. Clef sides are still treble and bass. This is in 2/4 time. I see a bunch of dotted quarter note, 1/8 note rhythms. 1 and 2 and. Right hand, well, the hands are really just playing 1 hand at a time through most. So I'm going to take both hands together. It'll shorten the video a little. So really, you're starting here in the left hand, and the right hand is starting, they want 5th finger on B flat or B. So we're here. And don't worry about the name of the hand position or whatever. You just go where the music tells you to go. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and rest. And then they want 5th. They say 4th finger if you want. I'm going to recommend 5th finger. Let's just stay here. 1 and 2. You can come up a little bit, but don't come way up. We want to stay out here as much as possible. 1 and 2. rest. During the rest, you come down. We moved. I don't think we've been moving around before, but we do. You come down here. Just lift up and come down. That's okay. 1 and 2. Rest and left. The right hand didn't move. And then here, rest. Now the right hand comes up. Actually, I'm going to suggest you just reach up. We're going to start spreading out and scrunching up. Spreading, you're not going to be in a nice, neat 5-finger position all the time. There will always be a 5-finger position around somewhere, probably, but a lot of it isn't. It's going to be spreading out and scrunching up. So at the end, you can move, but I recommend you just reach up because I want to feel my way around. And that's why, because I want to be able to play this without looking at the keyboard, except in the left hand when I have to come from here to here. I got to look there. You could reach. I could use the thumb as my anchor, and I could just reach down. But then you have to eventually get a feel for that distance. So I'm suggesting here, go ahead and look at the keyboard and just move down for the left hand. But the right hand, this is a very common thing in piano. I'm recommending reach up here. You have to look at first, but eventually you want to be able to just feel where that is, using this as the anchor, and you know where it is. You can feel it. Anyway, once I get the notes and the rhythms okay, as far as the articulation goes, you have to lift up between the rest, otherwise you connect it. Rest. Yeah, it's all connected. You do have an accent at the end on both hands. You play a little louder. Okay, just a little more weight. And then the dynamics, P at the beginning is soft, and that's the only dynamic you get until the end, and they give you FF again. I wish they wouldn't do that. I disagree. I don't need an FF with an accent, especially with just one note. Just play it loud, very loud actually. To me, it should be an F with an accent, or FF but no accent, but you don't need them both. So soft, whatever you think soft is. Until the end, you're very loud. The speed, there is no speed, it's up to you. And this is a good one to do the play and say it drill if you don't know the names of the notes on the lines. You still have to use these crutches. So just say F, F, A, C, C, A, B, it's B flat, G, G, A, E, E, C, then this is a D, D, F sharp, F, A. Just go through and say and play the note slowly. I go a little fast, you take it at your speed. Just to drill yourself on the names of these notes. Remember the natural accents? 1, 2, 1, 2. If you have to exaggerate it. You want to feel the natural accents. Let's play this together slowly and check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do louds and softs. We're just checking notes and rhythms. So I'll give us 2 counts. Ready, go? Let's try it. Ready and go, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 2 and rest, 2, rest, rest, and 2, rest, rest.